Alright, we should be live on youtube.com/SirHuntsReviews. Want to use a professional streaming voice here. How's everybody doing this evening? It's a late hour. Haven't done a live stream at 10 o'clock since Game of Thrones Season 7. Trying to rekindle some of that magic. I realize there's going to be more people that probably watch this after it's live, so I'm gonna not take too long to get started here, but I do want to wait like maybe 1 or 2 minutes. You know, what's up to everyone in the chat? Let's do a shout out real quick. Let's see. We got shout out to Genesis Markham, shout out to Jake from State Farm, shout out to Bobby Jonas, shout out to Justin Duvall, Lila V, Matt Brown, Rocket Man, Ryan Williams, Steel Hyena, and the Drowned God of Tits and Wine. Someone grab me the breastplate stretcher. Oh, there's more people coming in. Okay, let's see. Shout out to Hi, I'm Allison, Jorge Lopez. I think I got everyone. Oh, Alexandria. Shout out to Alexandria. Your what you call it? Your Night King twin pack should be shipping out tomorrow. Hopefully I get an email from them. If not, I'm gonna have to call them again and bitch them out like I did last time. I felt bad because they were like, we don't really have anything to do with those orders. We're just like a separate company that handles the calls, so we can put in a work order for you. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, come on, you guys were supposed to send it out almost a month ago now, and you're just offering me some 20% off as if I would order something else from you guys, so it takes fucking forever to get here. Like, no, it's funny. That's what Amazon does. I have a shit ton of problems with Amazon, and fucking every time I call and bitch to them, they're like, hey, do you want this $10 gift card for stuff that's only sold and shipped by Amazon? And a lot of the shit I order off of Amazon is like for my car, and most of it's made by like, you know, aftermarket car companies that sell their shit on Amazon. So it's not covered under that gift card, so I end up never using them. But yeah. Is there anyone else that joined? I missed while I was going on that little rant. Oh, damn, we got 31 people in here. That's what's up. All right, let's do some new shout-outs. Shout out to Sydney Weinberger. Shout out to Mario Rodriguez. Him and Terry are the number one patron donators. They just recently became that. For those of you that don't know, I deleted a live stream yesterday. My cats broke my fucking TV. It was a gift. Got it last Black Friday. But Black Friday's coming up. Hopefully I'll be able to find a better deal. But yeah, it got fucking ruined. I just decided to delete that live stream because I feel like it's inappropriate to put on a Game of Thrones only channel, you know. Shout out to Bubba Husky, Ann Ryan, Amber Tilton, Dennis Pierce, Eduardo Blanco, Helen L. I'm trying not to repeat names. Mara Jade Starkwalker. I like that name, and I think I say that every time I say it. Or every time I see it. Alright, so, I mean, we got a decent amount of people watching right now. Let's go ahead and begin the stream. Alright, you guys ready to jump to the woods? Here we go. Whew. Oh, alright, so this discussion is going to be on Jaime and Cersei Lannister. And I know the title says Season 8, but we're actually going to run down the entire history of these two. Mainly show... if we did do the books, this would turn out to be like a 3.5-hour stream. And I do have some time, but I don't have that much time. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. I will be taking questions at some point. If you're new to these streams, I have severe ADD, so I'll probably jump in the chat, you know, more often than not, and then go on, like, side tangents about other characters. But we're mainly going to try to focus on Jaime and Cersei Lannister. George says Cersei. I pronounce Cersei in like all of my videos. You know, people don't like that, but whatever. They did a little bit of fucking research, they would find out the correct way to say it. Alright, so yeah, let's do this. Jaime and Cersei Lannister are the eldest children. By the way, all of this information is coming from GameOfThrones.wikia.com/wiki/Cersei and Jaime Lannister. It's linked down below in the description so you can go check it out for yourself. But Jaime and Cersei Lannister are the eldest children and twins born to Tywin and Joanna Lannister, and have been involved in an ongoing sexual and romantic affair for many years, since their youth, despite the cultural and religious taboos against brother and sister incest in Westeros. As a teenager, Jaime abdicated his post, I might have butchered that word right there, as heir to Casterly Rock to join the Kingsguard, an elite knighthood sworn to protect the King of the Andals, the Roynalar, and the First Men, and swore a sacred oath forbidding him from inheriting or owning any land, taking a wife, or fathering any children. Following the annulment of her betrothal to Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, Cersei was forced into an unhappy marriage with King Robert Baratheon, making her the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms because he was sworn to protect Robert, Jaime, and Cersei. Sorry, I meant to, there was a comma right there, Mark. Jaime and Cersei continued seeing each other even after her marriage to Robert Baratheon and lived together in the Red Keep in King's Landing. The two have 3 children together, Joffrey, Tommen, and Myrcella, all of which are dead at this point in the TV show. For the most part, I think, let's say seasons 1 through 6, no one knew about the true lineage of the bastard Baratheon children. Now it's kind of like a common saying. I'm sure everyone going into season 8, you'll probably see more and more people knowing about it. I mean, Cersei is at this point where we saw, what was it, episode 2? Maybe episode 3. Her and Jaime hooked up, and she told Jaime she doesn't care whether he leaves or whether he leaves, in broad daylight and everyone sees him leaving her bedchambers. That may have her face taken by Arya next season. She definitely saw what was going on. Jaime was laying in the bed. Hang on, let me take a sip of water real quick. Okay, so let's jump to when they were 4 years old. Their mother died while giving birth to her youngest son, Tyrion. We all know is a dwarf. I'm not sure if anyone knew that. I kind of knew that, but just for anyone who doesn't know, Tyrion is 4 years younger than Jaime and Cersei. Both Tywin and Cersei blamed Tyrion for Joanna's death and wished for his death when he was an infant, but he survived into adulthood with ease, infuriating both Tywin and Cersei. The only member of House Lannister that had any love for Tyrion was Jaime. He was very fond of his younger brother, and the two got along very well as children. Soon after Tyrion was born, Oberyn Martell and his sister Elia visited Casterly Rock with their father, both excited at the rumors of a monster being born to Lord Tywin. There's kind of this stigma with Tywin. He did some good stuff for Westeros, but he was also, mainly hated by a lot of people. He was kind of like a pompous asshole, and because of that, a lot of people felt that Tyrion, him being a dwarf and basically being like the ultimate bastard, you can't even get like a pardon from the king for being a bastard. You're a dwarf, so like Tyrion says, all bastards or all dwarfs are bastards in their father's eyes. So because of that, it kind of grew this rumor that Tyrion is Tywin's bane. Like he's basically his Achilles heel for Tyrion being so pompous. And the Mad King was one of the people who kind of started that rumor. So where were we? They were disappointed when Tyrion appeared nothing more than a baby with a large head and small arms. But even at such a young age, Cersei was shown to hate him to such an extent that Oberyn and Elia were disturbed as she pinched her baby brother's tiny little pecker as hard as she could, and they thought that she might pull it off. But Jaime, of course, stopped her. So that's kind of like, you can almost say that it relates to what happened right before Tyrion escaped King's Landing. Something very similar. Now, he was about to lose his life and not just his manhood, but he was about to lose all that shit. Basically, Cersei is like conspiring, her and her father were conspiring that Tyrion, yes, murdered Joffrey. So if it wasn't for Jaime, Tyrion would have never escaped. So it's very similar to what happened when they were, youth in the kingdom. And, I don't know where that my Jamaican just came out. Early on, it was evident that Tywin had no intention of trying to hide the prejudices he had against each of his children. As the eldest boy and heir to Westerlands, Jaime was taught to use the lance and sword, and Tywin spent countless hours with him teaching him how to fight properly and how to read. On the other hand, Cersei was taught to smile, put on a show, which she resented, and she was often ignored by Tywin in favor of Jaime. However, she still had it better than Tyrion, who you know, he was always being ignored. I'm kind of going to skip over these parts about Tyrion because we're mainly focusing on Jaime and Cersei. But you can also draw parallels to Cersei's upbringing, similar to, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, Sansa. But if you look a little bit deeper, you could even say Arya, because Arya was kind of forced to do that, like, sewing shit, you know, learning how to be a lady, and she didn't want to do it. The difference was Arya, you know, completely rebelled against it. She was forced to because of Cersei, but you can draw parallels between almost any two characters in Game of Thrones. I said almost. I don't know if you can draw parallels between Hot Pie and Jon Snow. Maybe you could. Let's see how many people we got watching right now. We got 50 people watching right now. Shout out to everyone who's just now joining in. Yeah, let me not get sidetracked with the chat just yet. We haven't even gotten halfway through this. We're still like in their teenage years. Let's see. Although it had never been confirmed exactly when Cersei and Jaime began their romantic relationship, it probably began as an innocent experimentation when the two were still young children. Because Tywin was so often absent from Casterly Rock, serving as hand of the king to Aerys the second Targaryen, the two were primarily raised by servants and oftentimes were left alone with no supervision. Because the royal house Targaryen had been incestuously wedding brother and sister for nearly 3 centuries to keep bloodlines pure, they did not consider what they were doing to be particularly unusual, although the rest of Westeros certainly would not have approved if it ever had become public knowledge that these two were twin-cested all up and down King's Landing. Now this is really interesting when you have this written in such a beautifully like paragraphed way that this is, you know, on the Game of Thrones wiki page. You can kind of like just pull stuff from that and just discuss it. So what I want to talk about that is with, like, you know, Cersei kind of hates the Targaryens, but she also admires them for the fact that what she was doing, you know, in their eyes would have been seen as somewhat normal. I think this could also play into a little bit more of, I'm a fan of the theory that her and Jaime may be secret Targaryens, not so much Tyrion. I've explained it so many times. I'm not going to go into detail, but basically they're older, so it would only make more sense if the supposed, according to Maester Yandel, Aerys the second Targaryen took liberties with Joanna Lannister on the night of her wedding ceremony. So if that were the case, then Jaime and Cersei would be secret Targaryens. But this would be, hang on, I gotta let out the cat. He's scratching up my fucking carpet. Not only did you break my TV, you want to pull up my carpet too. I'm not getting my deposit back from this apartment. I realized that, bro. I fucking realized that. Oh yeah. Move on. A TV is just a TV, right? And I was actually, the first thing I said was, like, obviously I yelled at the cat, but I immediately grabbed him to check to see if he was okay. And he was. And I saw a few people had commented on that video before I deleted. I didn't get a chance to respond to those comments. Both cats were okay. It was caused by both of them, but the main to blame is Anubis, because he was the one who actually jumped over the power cord, which pulled the TV forward. God. It was in slow motion. So yeah, it's ironic that she admired Targaryens, but publicly, you know, hated them. Early on, the relationship was purely experimental, but soon culminated into an intense, chaotic relationship. While Jaime cared deeply for her sister and loved her fiercely like a lion, Cersei only mildly returned the affection. She did love him, but while Jaime was always faithful to her and never lay with another woman, Cersei continued to have interest in other men. As a teenager, she visited the woods outside of Casterly Rock with her friend Melara Heatherspoon in the hopes that Maggie the Frog would read her future, asking her 3 questions. She said, 1, will I marry the prince? 2, will I be queen? And 3, will the king and I have children? While she was satisfied by Maggie's answer, she wouldn't marry the prince, but she would marry the king, and that she would be queen. She was perturbed when Maggie said she would be deposed by a younger, more beautiful queen, and that although she would have 3 children, her husband would have 20, and while their crowns would be golden, so would their shrouds, distressing Cersei. At the age of 16, Jaime decides to join the Kingsguard, becoming the youngest knight ever to be appointed to the elite knighthood. By doing so, he vowed to never own any land, never take a wife, and never father any children. Therefore, you know, getting rid of his role as heir to Casterly Rock and making Tyrion the Lord of Casterly Rock in place of Tywin. Although Tywin, you know, he kind of had his own way, and he was pissed off at Jaime's decision, as he had previously planned Jaime to marry Lysa Tully. that would have been interesting mix there. He was forced to accept Jaime's decision, and Cersei was thereafter delighted that Jaime would continue to remain faithful to her. However, Cersei did not, return his devotion, hoping to marry the Crown Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, though possibly not because she had romantic feelings for him, but more so just for social rank. Sorry, I thought I just saw something weird in the chat. Yeah. However, her hopes to marry Rhaegar were dashed when the Mad King refused to let his son marry Cersei, believing she was not good enough for Rhaegar, insulting Tywin and ultimately resulting in Tywin's betrayal of the Mad King during the sack of King's Landing during Robert's Rebellion. We're skipping over the next little bit right here because we're mainly trying to focus on Cersei and Jaime. All right, let's jump to Season 1 of Game of Thrones. First we hear of them in the Great Hall of the Red Keep in the capital, King's Landing. Cersei watches the Silent Sisters prepare the body of Jon Arryn, hand to the king. Okay, now this might be a part 3, all the way up to part 3 series, because I'm probably going to get through Season 1 and maybe up until Season 5. And then we'll save Season 6 and then 7 and 8 for another one. Okay, so a 2-part series. All right. Where were we? Like I said, the ADD is fucking intense. She is concerned that Jon may have told somebody about her and Jaime. Jaime eases her fears, saying that if Robert knew, they would already be dead by now. She recommends that he become the new hand of the king, but he refuses, citing the amount of responsibility and the danger that is forced onto anybody who holds that position. Robert decides to travel to Winterfell and appoint Eddard Stark as hand of the king. While there, Cersei sends Jaime to find their brother Tyrion, who has become distracted at the local brothel. Later that night, Cersei dines with Eddard's wife Catelyn and watches without emotion as her husband kisses and fondles a servant who serves him wine. The next day, Robert and Eddard go hunting, leaving the castle largely empty. Cersei and Jaime take the opportunity to engage in sexual intercourse in a derelict tower. Oh, man. However, Eddard's young son Bran climbs the tower and finds them together. Cersei frantically climbs out. I was about to insert a joke there, but yeah. She cries out, spotting Bran in the window, and Jaime walks up to the window and says, "Hey, the things I do for love," and then he pushes Bran out the window, thus beginning Bran on the journey of Bloodraven. There's many of discussions that can be had on that's one of the main reasons why I first started hating Jaime, was obviously because he puts a child out the window. But then it's almost like when you go back in like Season 4, when you start liking Jaime, you almost appreciate what he did, because if he hadn't have done that, Bran Stark wouldn't have had his warging abilities awakened, thus becoming Bloodraven. Or three-eyed crow, as the show-only people like to bitch at me in the comments about. Let's see. A month later, at breakfast, Tyrion tells his family that although he remains comatose, Bran is expected to live, and notes his siblings' guarded reaction to the news. Cersei looks mildly distressed, while Jaime simply ponders the circumstances of Bran's fall and appears thoughtful. Eventually, the royal party returns to King's Landing, now accompanied by Eddard and his 2 daughters, Sansa and Arya, the former being betrothed to Cersei's eldest son, Joffrey, receiving word that Bran has woken, but cannot remember the details of his fall, meaning he doesn't remember that Jaime pushed him out the damn window. He obviously does now. Jaime visits Cersei, and Jaime is also headed to Winterfell. So that's going to be, that deserves a video all in of itself. Jaime visits Cersei in her chambers. Cersei is upset at Jaime's thoughtlessness, but Jaime reminds her of the desperate situation he was in, even after he tells her that Bran is only 10 years old and no one will ever believe him if his memory returns. Cersei remains angry, and when Jaime jokes about going to war with Robert and how the minstrels will write the ballad "The War for Cersei's Cunt," she slaps him, but he simply pulls her to him, holding her close and telling her that if need be, he will kill everyone in the world until there are only 2 left standing. I don't know why Jaime just became Alliser Thorne, but he did. Learning that Catelyn had arrested Tyrion for pushing Bran out the window, Jaime confronts Eddard and leaves King's Landing to find his brother. Cersei and Robert discuss their unhappy marriage, Cersei revealing that she stopped having feelings for Robert a long time ago, although she had once loved him. Eddard receives a serious leg injury at the hands of Jaime's men, and upon waking up is met by Robert and Cersei. Cersei is furious that Eddard dared to lay hands on her blood, and Robert demands that Eddard see that his wife release Tyrion. However, his lack of action causes Cersei to boldly tell Robert that she should wear the armor and him the dress, and he angrily hits her across the face, leaving a distinctive mark that she should wear the armor. And oh wow, go back in line there. Despite this, she remains docile, saying she will wear the mark proudly before leaving Robert and Eddard to speak alone. The act of violence makes Eddard realize just how unhappy the two are at marriage. Hang on one second. Gotta let my cat back in. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. Get in the room, dude. Initially, I was going to go for a late night drive, but then I was like, you know what? Let me do a live stream. I'm slacking on the video department, so at least we can drop a live stream in you guys' sub boxes. I lose like 30 subscribers a day now. It's pretty entertaining. Let's see. Eddard soon realizes that Joffrey, Tommen, and Myrcella are not Robert's children, but Jaime's, discovering that Jon Arryn had been investigating the bastards Robert bore with other women, all of whom had dark hair and dark features, just like Robert, and that Jon Arryn's last words had been, "The seed is strong," referring to the indications that genetic characteristics contribute to the proof Robert did not father Cersei's children, as well as Sansa's claim that Joffrey is nothing like Robert and that she will bear him golden-haired son. A golden-haired son. See, this wiki page is like leaving out certain words. Eddard comes to the conclusion that Cersei and Jaime have been involved in an incestuous relationship for some time and calls for a meeting with her. Visiting him in the courtyard, she feigns concern on his injury, but he asks her whether or not Robert had ever hit her before. She responds that Jaime would have killed him if he had known, and that Jaime is worth 1,000 of Robert. Eddard reveals he is aware that he is her lover, but Cersei defends herself by saying the Targaryens wed brother and sister for 300 years, and that Jaime and her are more than brother and sister, and as they were brought into this world together, it is fate that had made them fall in love. She tells him that they are both parents who love their children, and that she has worshipped Robert when she first married him, but came to resent him after realizing he was still in love with Eddard's sister and Robert's former betrothed, Lyanna Stark, the legendary Lyanna. Eddard warns her that they must tell Robert the truth and tells her to go as far as she could go with her children, as he does not want to be responsible for their deaths. Cersei remains unperturbed, mocking Eddard for not taking the Iron Throne when given the chance, saying that when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die, and there is no middle ground. That's like one of the most famous lines out of the entire TV show. I just keep peeking in the chat real quick. The War of the Five Kings begins and Cersei takes Lancel as a lover, although the relationship seems merely a way for Cersei to relieve her emotions during Jaime's absence, as she evidently has no romantic inkling for Lancel. I mean, who would? That dude's he's a beta male, as right-wing people would say. Catelyn visits Jaime, who taunts her over Eddard's death, telling her widowhood suits her. Oh, wow, I just skipped a bit there. I skipped a shit ton. All right, so we're pretty much getting the point. I'm going to jump in the chat and just answer some questions. Let's see, we did 23 minutes of that, so we'll probably do maybe another 10 to 15 minutes of questions. I wanted to make these less than an hour. The goal was to make it watchable for someone if they wanted to go back and see it. You know. Let's see. I just saw a question pop up as well. That's awesome. All right. QnA, do you think it would have been cool if the free folk used more sled dogs to travel around? Yeah. I think it would have been badass if the free folk, since they, got the giants to join them, if they could have somehow tamed the, like the polar bears before, the Night King got to them, if they could have somehow tamed them. I mean, they were able to get elephants So yeah, there's that. I guess that doesn't count because the Giants technically tamed those woolly mammoths. Yeah, but to answer your question, yes, I would have liked to have seen that. It would have been cool as well. Q&A, honestly, who do you think will kill Cersei, Jaime or Tyrion? Neither. I used to think it would be Tyrion, just because everyone says that's the obvious choice, and I'm like, well, there's so many other obvious choices. Tyrion is the most obvious, so that's why I think it will be him. But now I'm leaning more towards Arya either wearing the face of that handmaiden that saw her and Jaime in bed together, or Jaime. If I had to pick one of your choices, I would say Jaime. This is from Mario Rodriguez, and he says, what do you think Jaime's reaction will be when he finds out Cersei loses the baby? Oh, are you? That's from that supposed fan fiction plot leak. It was technically supposed to happen, if I remember correctly. The original season 7 plot leak said that Cersei would end the season. Towards the end of the season, she would wake up in a pool of blood and realize that she had a miscarriage. If she does in fact lose that baby, or if it's even Jaime's baby, I would like to see there be some babies to take place of all the dead people that are going to be dying off. Like Cersei's probably in my top 3 of who I want to live or who I think will live. I don't necessarily want her to live, but you know, I've been over this multiple times. But I feel like if she does die, you know, she would have a child that replaced her. If Daenerys dies, she would have a child that replaced her. Same with Jon Snow. So if each of the main characters, not like Arya and Sansa, obviously they're not going to get married and get pregnant and then have a kid to replace them. No, but like the 3 who are of age, that being Cersei, Daenerys, and I guess Jon. I don't think Jaime would be a part of her life either way. If she does have that miscarriage and Jaime finds out, he's already as far away as he can be, especially since he's running into like pretty much the arms of their enemy. So I think if he finds out that she had the miscarriage, that would make it all the more easier to just be like, you know, fuck you. Because in the books, it's at the point where Cersei is in trial and she sends a letter to Jaime asking him for his help, and he's like, nah, fuck that. He's like, I don't want anything to do with that. So I think that's where he's officially going to be going into season 8. You know, like they don't have any book material to really work with. And as far as we know, filming season has been in progress for like I'd say almost 2 weeks now, and the leaks have been non-existent. So if that's the case, they may have done their job completely. Now I know it's still a little bit too early, and I think closer to December. Obviously, we're waiting on the snow. But closer to December, and if these leaks are sparse as hell, I think they might have done their job successfully, and I don't really know whether to be angry or not, because usually I use that as material to make videos, but since I don't have that, it makes it like, okay, let's just do theory videos. But there's only so many theories that I can do that are like, okay, these are 100% mine and that are original, that I haven't already discussed during the season, because I made so many videos during the season. So it's like I could be angry for that, but I should also be happy as a fan that there's not going to be anything spoiled for anyone. So there's not going to be people writing in my comment section, hey, did you know the episode 7 season 7 leaked and we know who dies at the end of the episode? You know what I mean? That happened like 3 or 4 different times where I'm just trying to respond to comments of people are writing known spoilers because HBO got hacked like 3 fucking times last season. So if we don't start seeing these leaks coming out left and right, if we don't start seeing people posting pictures on Twitter of how they got their drone close enough, they're doing their job. And, you know, I don't know how to feel about that. All right, but yeah, let's go back to questions. Q&A. If you saw my Patreon comment, I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, let me pull that up real quick. Oh, okay. I see it right now. All right, so this is from the drowned god of tits and wine, a.k.a. Dave. He says, a friend had an interesting theory about Cersei. In short, in the end, she dies in childbirth, giving birth to an imp found. Oh, I like that. So basically, she dies having a Tyrion. That's an awesome fucking theory, man. I like that. I don't know. We were just kind of talking about the whole, like, if she does have a miscarriage or something. But if she does carry it all the way through term and she has the child and then she dies during childbirth, that would be, you know, pretty poetic. That's how her mom died. That's how Daenerys' mom died. That's how Jon's mom died. So it would be like, you know, following that trend. And a lot of people think that Daenerys is going to die during childbirth. So if Cersei dies during childbirth giving birth to an imp, that is like just dessert served all the way around. I kind of wanted her to be alive just because I know a lot of good people are going to die. And you need, you know, a few evil people to still remain to cause some sort of like future stress in the world of Westeros, even though we're not going to get to see about it. Or see what happens rather, for it to be a bittersweet ending. But yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. I like that theory a lot, man. And that comes from, once again, the drowned god of tits and wine. QnA, does Bronn stay in King's Landing and serve the MQ? Or join Dany, or roll with the Kingslayer on the road to the north? I like how you abbreviated a lot of different things there, and you made me think about it. Okay, so the MQ, that's the Queen Mother. Mothers, I don't know what you're going for there, but I know you're talking about Cersei. No, Bronn is definitely hightailing it out of there. I would love to see him switch sides, but I know for a fact he's going to end up leaving or die. Cersei would kill him because they haven't been in a scene like ever. They hate each other, and I think Cersei has a bit more of like a say-so. And I think it's safe to say that Dan and Dave are a huge fan of Bronn. That's why they give him such, you know, scenes and lines and shit, and they made him like a fan favorite basically by writing his character the way they did. I think they're going to separate them. If not, if Bronn doesn't die early on, because, you know, we're going to start losing these main tier cast members that have just recently been promoted to main tier, we're going to start losing them left and right. So I think if Bronn doesn't die early on, I definitely think that he's getting the fuck out of King's Landing. He's not going to be serving Cersei. Your second question was, will he join Dany? Well, he's going to join, and this, you know, kind of answers your third one. He's definitely going to join the Kingslayer on the road to the north. Like, he has nowhere else to go. You know, Tyrion and Jaime are going to be potentially in the same spot. And he knows they'll eventually have gold. And he already kind of realizes that Cersei, maybe what'll happen is Cersei will get betrayed, and then while Bronn is still like serving her, and that's what makes him leave. That would make, you know, stay true more to his like sellsword and I only work for gold kind of mentality. But as you saw it, he risked his life saving Jaime. You know, he jumped in front of Drogon's flame to push Jaime into a lake. He knows he could have died, and honestly, if he had died, he could have still gotten himself away and still gotten paid somewhat. So it's almost like he can't really use that, oh, I only work for gold as a motive anymore. And I think because of that, everyone's having these, like, coming to the light going into Season 8. So I feel like, yeah, he's going to be joining Jaime and ultimately joining Tyrion and Daenerys up north. Q&A, when will you tear apart the two different plot leaks? LOI, I know you did one already, but there's another one. I didn't know. Well, no, I remember last time I was doing a live stream, someone had asked me if I saw a Talking Thrones video about some new plot leak that he had gotten a hold of, and I haven't seen anything about that. I think it's probably just fan fiction. But if you send me a link to it, or like write it in a comment after this video or something, or just direct message me on Twitter, I'll check it out. I'll see if we can't bust it down on the live stream. See, Q&A, what do you think will happen when Tyrion and Sansa meet again at Winterfell? Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, I see sparks flying. You know, initially I thought Tyrion and Daenerys were going to get together, but that quickly got snuffed out by the whole boat sex fiasco. So I feel like not necessarily sparks will fly, but, you know, the type of dire times we're in, and Tyrion realizing that marriage is important, Sansa realizing that same thing, and maybe once she finds out about Jon marrying off, you know, maybe she'll think about it again. I feel like neither one of them are gonna initiate it, but I feel like their circumstances may make them fall in love again. I would love to see Tyrion get back with his you know, wife, and he would treat her right for sure. No doubt about it. Tyrion's a good dude. Mario Rodriguez, you are about to get, if this thing will stay on your name long enough. I don't know why you haven't already been made one. You are now a moderator. Please use your wrench status wisely, good sir. Aaron Irie Knight says, I never get notified. What the fuck, man? LOL. What up, Sir Hunts? What's up, Aaron? Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Let's see. How long have we been live streaming right now? We've been going on for about 34 minutes. Okay, we'll do like another 7 minutes of questions. So let me jump back onto the questions. Jake from State Farm says the plot leaks are bullshit at this point. That's what everyone says about the plot leaks every year, and sometimes they get some shit right. I have a question for y'all. Where are you guys at right now? Are you in the Eastern Standard Time Zone? If you are, let me know. And if you aren't, let me know what time zone you're in. Because I realize it's only 7:30 in California. It's 10:30 over here. I think England and most of the UK is 6 hours ahead of this. So it's like 4 o'clock in the morning over there. And then in Australia, it's like 10 o'clock. And I know that people watch me in all those different places. So I wonder if this works out for a good time. Because the way that my work schedule is going, it seems like I might have a little bit of time before I go in, for my night shift. QnA, do you think there will be any scenes devoted to Arya and Gendry? I've always loved them. Definitely. I think that'll be like the main theme of it. We've all kind of been saying this. No one can really take credit for it because it's just the way the show's written. If you're following along with the story, you can see this. But I think the main theme is going to be Jon and Daenerys next season. Then we're going to have a potential thing between Sansa and Tyrion, and then we may see something between Jaime and Brienne, and then Arya and Gendry. I just don't know how it's going to go with the whole Arya and Gendry thing. Main reason being, Gendry would likely be open for it. He seems super devoted to Jon, so, obviously Arya's his sister, so I don't know if he would, want to, come on too strong. And I already know Arya is not going to be about that life, you know what I mean? She's worried about saving her family. I still think that she may leave them, or when the chaos breaks out at Winterfell, she may break off to go and kill Cersei because she'll hear that Cersei is becoming a nuisance, and maybe she'll hear, or Jon and Daenerys will hear that Cersei's marching an army up north. Obviously not with herself, but she's sending an army up north, and they need to be worried about it because obviously they're going to come and try to kill them. But I think Arya will know better than that. Maybe if Jon and Daenerys think that it's the army that was promised, maybe Cersei gets the Golden Company and sends them up north before Jaime gets up north, because maybe Jaime went to the Riverlands if he was smart to go and maybe try to get Eddard, wow. Edmure Tully in on this. He does have some troops that could maybe, I know he's not going to be able to convince too many. Well, there aren't any Freys left, so that kind of threw that out the window. So yeah, sorry, your original question was Arya and Gendry. Was it though? I feel like I started answering another question. I clicked on one of the links that was being shared in the chat, and I started reading what was on the page, and I got sidetracked. Shout out to Detroit. I have 40 family members that live up there, probably more than that. They all got kids. All my cousins got 4 kids. QnA, do you think the long-awaited fan-favorite Clegane Bowl will happen with the Hound burning the mountain? I don't know if the Hound will burn the mountain. That would be sick. The Hound kind of got over fire a little bit north of the wall, but he's still probably ultimately afraid of it. I would love to see him fully overcome it and use fire as some sort of way to defeat him. Maybe he has him beaten down, and then since the mountain's all zombie-like, it still just wasn't enough, and then that's what made... then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Daenerys and her dragon show up, and then, the Hound, directs the dragon to burn the shit out of his brother. That'd be pretty cool. I definitely think it's gonna go down. Main reason being is because we have that scene where Sandor walked up to his brother, and he said, I know that's you. I know that's you under that helmet, you ugly fucker. Not in those exact words, but if you can throw in almost any curse word, and the Hound has said it. There's this one video that is a super montage of every single curse word that the Hound says, and it's literally 30 minutes of just fuck, shit, fuck us, fuck Lombo, the fuck salami. You know what I mean? Just for 20 minutes. It's awesome. But yeah, it's definitely going to happen. I just don't know if it will happen with fire. I would like to see fire included in the way of like him directing a dragon to burn him, because that would show how close he's gotten to Jon and Daenerys and company. We did see that Jon was all about petting some dragons last season. Dragons are fire incarnate, so I kind of can't wait to see Sandor get some free time, maybe when he's with Arya, and even Brienne. Isn't that going to be awesome that you're going to have Arya, Brienne, and Sandor, who were ultimately like running from each other, or just like playing, not realizing that they were both on Arya's side. We saw them kind of like, we saw Sandor and Brienne kind of make up in their march towards into Winterfell, but when we have him, Arya, and Brienne all in the same room, even Jaime, like, it's going to be nice to see them all, like, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Rocket Man says, great, now the stream is going to be demonetized. Is it not already demonetized? Are ads even playing on this motherfucker? Because I feel like they probably aren't. At this point, everything that I upload gets demonetized for a period of time. Now, it's only, sometimes it'll be 24 hours, sometimes it'll literally be 2 hours. I found out recently that if I don't immediately appeal the strike, like, manually, like, request a repeal of them saying that my content is not ad-friendly, only partially ad-friendly, if I don't do anything about it, in 2 hours, it'll remonetize itself. That's some new kind of glitch they got going on with YouTube fuckery. But, you know, at this point, it's kind of like whatever. Like, I've held on to 5 videos that I did not put out because when I uploaded them, YouTube said they weren't ad-friendly. I waited 3 days on these videos, and they still said they weren't ad-friendly, and it took so many hours of my time to edit them. Why would I go back and re-edit them when, in my eyes, they're perfect? And if I'd uploaded them last fucking year before this adpocalypse, courtesy of PewDiePie, they would have been fucking ad-friendly. But nah, it's annoying. Like, I had that conversation with myself. I'm like, should I really change my personality when that's what's gotten me fucking 7 million views here on YouTube? No, not at all. I should just wait it out, or, you know, just not make any money off of YouTube, which is not necessarily fine, but I definitely have Patreon, and that's coming up. You know, if it wasn't for those wonderful, if every single person that's a Patreon to me, if it wasn't for you guys, it really wouldn't be possible to make this content, because then I'm not even gonna, let's just jump back into questions. But yeah, thank you all so much. I'm gonna, I got something special planned for you guys coming up. QnA, do you think Jaime's sword skills will be somewhat improved by using that much smaller sword made for Tommen? Follow-up, why haven't they made him a weaponized prosthetic? I don't know, man. That's a good fucking question. I thought for sure he would have mounted some sort of trick dagger or something into that, especially since he's gone into battle like 3 times with it. You know what I mean? Like, he's literally gone into battle multiple different occasions and hasn't thought to, hey, maybe I should utilize this golden hand. Like, he's used it as a somewhat of a shield. He's blocked a few swords with it. But no, I think he should have it almost like a Transformer, where it's like people are like, oh, let's go fight this one-handed guy who isn't going to be able to do shit. And then all of a sudden, Jaime whips his hand forward, and then all the fingers retract, and the giant blade pops out. Sort of like that dude from the old Street Fighter games. What's his name? Something with a B. He was like an Indian guy who had swords. He looked like Freddy Krueger or some shit. I don't know. What's his name? Like Bordeaux? I wanted to say something like that, but I don't have time to look it up right now. But yeah, just something cool like that, but he hasn't. I don't know if him having the lighter sword would help a little bit. I think the idea is that that's kind of what it was. Like, you know, that fake sword that he was training with Braun with, that was probably a lot lighter. And he's still, they're just like, they're trying to, out of all the ridiculously unrealistic situations they have on the show, they stayed pretty, you know, real with Jaime and not being able to fight with his left hand because he never taught himself how to do it. You know what I mean? And not only that, for most part of the show, post-season 2, Jaime has been lost all of his confidence. I think him leaving Cersei, because she was kind of the one thing that no matter how much confidence he had, she could say one word and it would break it all back down. But since he's not around her anymore, it's almost like we might have a return of confident Jaime, which would then boost his skills. I don't know if the smaller sword would help with that, but I feel like if he trained with a super heavy sword with Brienne, Arya, and Lyanna Mormont, I hope that's how it's all going down. Like, the 3 of those are training together. Jaime shows up and just starts training with them, and then Bronn later shows up, and then they're all like just a giant montage of like 80s cut style scenes, training montage with all the dick and fart jokes that we got last season. I would not be surprised if they threw that in there. Like, they had some like third wall breaking. You know what I mean? This past season, hot pie, yeah, fucking hot pie, man. How many of y'all think that we're gonna get a small scene, like a 30-second scene, when the White Walkers, if they go get that far down south, which they totally will, because they're gonna be going to King's Landing, you would just get like one scene of Hot Pie showing up, and he's trying to offer one of the White Walkers a pie instead of eating him, and he's like, you know, you want one of these, motherfucker, and oh man, that would be hilarious. PewDiePie's a shit gibbles. Yeah. Hopefully they answered your question, Bubba. Like was smashed. Come on, fellow likers. Doc Robinson said, QnA, what did you do about the TV? Nothing. It is currently sitting over in the corner off of my table, because it just, every time I would walk out into the living room, I would just see it and get, you know, upset. Because not only, and to be completely honest, I barely use that TV. Most of my time is spent in the office, because I'm either watching Netflix or editing a video or doing a live stream or something that requires me to be in the office. So I don't use it that much. My girlfriend uses it. We use it when we have company over, and then we use it when we have like movie nights and stuff. And then when I'm eating, I'll go and sit out there, because I don't like to eat at my desk and get like food on my keyboard and shit. But it's not like I'm like super attached to it because I use it so often. It's just more of a sentimental thing, because that's one of the nicest gifts someone's ever gotten for me. Like, me and my girlfriend, you know, we struggled for a while, but last Christmas we were able to do it up. You know, I was doing the YouTube thing and working, so I had extra money. She had extra money, so she was able to get that for me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, you know, I went with her to do it. Obviously, it was on Black Friday, but it was still, it's like less traditional. It just sucks, you know? It just, I don't know. But yeah, no, we have not done anything about it, and hopefully we will be trying to get a new one on Black Friday. There are some pretty good deals out there. Not as good as the deal we got on this TV last year, of course, but yeah. And it requires getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Who cares? Oh, shit. We just got a super chat from Beth Anderson. She says, hell no, Mark. Keep on keeping it real. Thank you, madam. That's what's up. Thank you for that. There was no question attached to that, but I do appreciate it. Let's see. QnA, when are you posting your Stranger Things vid that you did with your girlfriend? I've been dying to see your Stranger Things content. Well, I have that. I can actually, like, I probably, if I somehow finagled with it a little bit, I could probably play a little clip for you. But I'll post it on Patreon, because you are a Patreon, Alex. So, I was gonna post it. I haven't really edited it. I was just gonna leave it up. Like, I didn't record us. It's just audio, you know. But I didn't like edit it all the way. The reason being is because I saw Jen and Julian's podcast on Stranger Things, and they're fucking hilarious. And I kind of want to almost script in a few jokes that we had talked about before I actually started recording, because I had to get her warmed up to talking on the microphone. Like, anyone I try to do a podcast with, I've noticed if it's not another YouTuber, I have to talk to them for like 20 to 30 minutes first to get them used to, you know, just like talking on camera. And some of the shit that happens or is said during that time frame doesn't get recorded because we aren't recording yet, and it's like you almost want to repeat those jokes, but then it doesn't sound natural. So I'm listening to it, and I'm like, oh man, I really want to do it really good. I want to do it so that it's funny. So it's not like, you know, it's late as hell. Stranger Things has been out for, you know, in another week it'll have been out for a month. So there's no rush to get it out for views or anything. But yeah, I definitely still want to upload it. I just don't know whether I want to edit it all the way through since I didn't record us, or if I want to re-record it and just kind of, you know, since I've had time to watch a few more episodes, she knew more than me in the first one. That's another thing, too, is, like, she made me look bad because I couldn't remember certain characters' names, and she's like, oh, you mean the sheriff? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, this is my channel, damn it. But, yeah, no. So, yeah, that's still coming. Still in the cooker. QnA, Sir Hunts, do you think Arya will wed anyone before the show ends? Maybe Gendry? We were just kind of talking about that. I just kind of answered that question. I wasn't sure if you were here. I don't know. You know, I think Gendry is potentially open for it. The problem with that is that he now works for Jon. Arya is Jon's sister, so I don't know if he would try to pursue anything. And I definitely don't see Arya making the first move because she's not in that mindset. You know what I mean? She's more of like, I want to avenge my family. I want to keep my family safe. So maybe if she sees that Jon and Daenerys are planning to get married, or maybe if Tyrion and Sansa, maybe marriage will be in the air, and then she'll, you know, kind of just want to get married that way. But I don't really see them getting together. I think it would be nice if we saw them, you know, if we get like an ending and then there's like a 10-minute prelude of what happens after everything, of all the people that are left alive, like what they end up doing. And then we see Arya and Gendry, like the back of them, and we just assume it's them. And then you see kids walking next to them or something. That'd be cool. Sort of like an ominous point, kind of like how Batman, The Dark Knight Rises ended, where, you know, it's like you don't really know if it's a daydream or if it's actually them. It's confirmed that it's actually Bruce and Catwoman. I'm just saying it would be nice if you kind of had something like that where you just saw the back of their heads and you just assume it's Arya and Gendry. But they're grown up, so you can't really tell. Like, not played by Maisie Williams and Joe Dempsey. Oh, shit! We got another super chat. QnA, when do you think we will see the Hound versus the Mountain? Also, who you got your money on? I'm not a betting man, but I'm definitely going to say the Hound all the way. There's no physical way to beat the Mountain because he's a zombie, but it's the last season. We're going to be getting a shit ton of fan fiction, fan payoffs, so I'm just going to, my money is going to be on the Hound. My money will be on if the Hound doesn't die, killing him, like doesn't die in the process. He'll get avenged by someone else. But if I had to choose, if it does happen, my money's on the Hound. And when it will happen, I definitely think it will be if Arya takes, because like I said, we're going to hear that Cersei's causing up a little bit of an issue down south because she's going to have the Golden Company marching up north. And Jaime's going to have warned them. Potentially, Jaime could warn them on saying, look, Cersei's not actually going to do what she said she was going to do. You guys need to get prepared for that. Maybe Jaime, Arya, and the Hound go out to confront them, and then I don't think Cersei's dumb enough to do it, but she could be, and that's how she's going to end up dying this season. Because honestly, Cersei can't die with the Mountain near her, so if she gets so stupid as to think that Euron and maybe Euron's men will keep her safe and they'll just send the Golden Company, and she needs someone like the Mountain there with them to protect her interests, so that basically the Golden Company don't retreat and go back to Essos once they found out that there's like fucking zombies that they're going to be fighting or whatever, or trying to get to, that are potentially coming towards them. Maybe she's forced to try to have to send the Mountain with them because she knows that no one can kill the Mountain, and you're pretty much going to have to do, you know, he's going to keep what's her best interest. So if that happens, Arya, Jaime, and Brienne, Sandor and Brienne, maybe even, I don't know if Sansa, I don't know, I feel like she would be staying with Jon to keep Sansa safe, but I feel like a group of them can be sent off to go and meet with them, and then when they do that, that's when Clegane Bowl can happen, and then, you know, maybe Arya comes in at the last second and saves Sandor from getting his head popped. You know, the only reason why the Viper was able to take him out, Oberyn Martell, was because he coated his weapons in poison. He's also a really, really good fighter. Sandor is a really, really good fighter. He's got a fucked up leg. You know, he did get pushed off of a mountain. But I still think that even if he was in 100 fighting percent, even if he was in 100% fighting shape, he still couldn't beat the Mountain, just because it's been shown that the Mountain's just an impossible dude to beat before he was alive, and now even more so after he's come back from being dead. Hopefully that answers your question. Alright, so let's do one more question, and then I'm going to wrap this up. We got to keep this less than an hour. There will be a part 2 of this, not to worry. Probably within the next few days. Depending upon how well this does, I might even do another one tomorrow night, just so we can stay consistent with them and start getting more and more content put out. It's easier to do these, as opposed to spend 6 hours editing a video, upload it to YouTube, and then YouTube to tell you, hey fucker, you're not ad-friendly. You know what I mean? That sucks. Q&A, who will control the Vale since Robin is batshit crazy, and doesn't the Vale have many more knights? I'd say the majority of their forces are with Jon Snow, are with Cersei and Bronze Jan Royce. I don't really know if Robin will come into fray, other than he is shown if Sansa is forced by Jon to have to leave Winterfell to flee because, let's say, the army of the dead are headed there. So Sansa is sent with maybe 2,000 Knights of the Vale back to, you know, the Eyrie, and then we see Robin Arryn again, and then Sansa has to have a soldier kill him because he's fucking stupid. I could see that coming back into play, but I don't really know who's gonna end up. I could see maybe Sansa controlling the Vale, Jon Snow, Daenerys at Winterfell, Arya kind of doing her own thing. Maybe Tyrion is giving the Iron Throne. Like, look, I'm just rambling right now. But, yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Let's do a surprise one more. What if the only way he can beat the mountain is by becoming a White Walker? Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. If he becomes a White Walker, he would be under control of the Night King. I don't know why the Night King would force him to kill his brother. If you're saying, like, the only way for him to beat the mountain is by becoming like the mountain, that's definitely possible. If he dies during the battle and then Melisandre or one of the other Red Priests he's going to bring back resurrects him, and then he's tougher to kill because of that. Or if he does die, like let's say that he runs his sword through the mountain, and the only way for him to do it is to run the mountain sword the rest of the way through him. So basically they have their swords in each other and they get closer together and then they fall to the ground, and then Sandor gets resurrected. Technically he won the fight, and then he's a white, kind of. I could see it like that. I could see that going down. But that's going to be wrapping this up. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video. Make sure you're subscribed. Go ahead and turn your notifications on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop Game of Thrones content throughout this off-season. My name's Mark. This has been Sir Hunt's Review. Stay tuned for a major holiday giveaway coming soon. Details will be posted very well in the next video that I do. It's going to be soon. I'm working on it with the sponsor of the giveaway, which is another top supporting contributor on Patreon, Terry Melinda. Shout out to Terry. But yeah, once we confirm everything, I'm gonna have it all laid out perfect for you guys in the video. But I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Review. I like 'em.